Identified pro-black.
History is about teaching us people that we're at war.
I want to speak about the image of our people. We have to be protective of our image.
Our ancestors, they were oppressed, and we are oppressed today.
Hotep, and welcome to another broadcast of the Jah
And the Kev Show.
That's right. And today we have some vital information that we must get into. This brother always interviewing me off the air. So today I want to do him a favor and just interview him and talk about something that's important to all of us. And the subject is, ladies and gentlemen, the topic is European holidays, a mental genocide for many Black people. Now, Kev, right off the bat, I want to tell everybody about this broadcast, and I'm going to ask you a question so you can start thinking about it, which happens to be, why do we need to have this discussion? That's the first question. So while you're thinking about that, I want everyone to know that this broadcast, the Jah and Kev Show, can be seen every first and third Saturday of the month at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. And boy, every time we get together, this brother has got a lot to say, and so do I. So we just want to educate you and uplift you and let you know that there are many subjects that we must talk about and be honest about and be transparent. So, Kev, having said that, what do you have for me?
Okay. First, let me start off by saying this. I see you as an intellectual brother.
Okay.
I see myself as a cerebral type brother. And I see the show, the Jah and Kev Show, as an opportunity for provocative thought and innovative conversation between two intellectual brothers.
Okay.
Right? I want to have, and I don't want to be trying to entertain people.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to be actually entertained by the conversation that me and you having as two intellectual brothers, like we normally have.
Right.
You know, so that's what I want to do. So when we talk about this show, I would think it'll be on a different level than the same old people talking about holidays and the numbers and Black people, whatnot. So that's what I want to put out there first.
Okay.
I want to have a discussion.
Okay.
Just as if me and you talking,
yeah,
and they just eavesdropping.
Right.
So let's get into that. The topic of the European holidays.
Okay.
What are European holidays?
Mm-hmm.
Because in America, we have national holidays or federal holidays, and we have local holidays or state holidays, city holidays, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
We have religious holidays.
Right.
We have commemorative holidays, or anniversaries or whatnot. So what are the European holidays that we're talking about?
Would it be anything that basically came from Europe? Your Christmas, your Thanksgiving, all these holidays, they have derived from somewhere. And so they found themselves here in America. And every holiday has started somewhere. So we're just talking about in America, these are the holidays that we celebrate. And that's why a lot of people tag them European because of the origin of them.
Okay, so American holidays basically would be European.
Still have like the Black history. We still have Kwanzaa. So those would not fall underneath that. So but that's kind of what we did.
And we did week, not last week, but the last show we did, it was at the Our Place Market where we talked about Kwanzaa.
Right.
And that was actually that's a cultural. I think the brother Bubba Undar explained it well when he said that's a cultural holiday.
Right.
So that's why I said there's many different types of holidays that we in the Black community celebrate. Some of them are religious holidays like Christmas. And Christmas is a holiday that I guess we could say is a European holiday.
Okay.
It's a religious holiday. I believe it's like 160 countries around the world celebrate Christmas. But that's puzzling to me.
Why
because we're saying European, and maybe it's been Europeanized or Westernized, because a lot of brothers tell me that they stole that story from African history. That's the birth of Horus.
Well, yeah, well, I've heard that too, but even though those who believe in spirituality, they talk about that being the birth of Horus or Heru, but we don't celebrate it like that. We don't bring all the fanfare with it. We don't add so that was a myth. So it's not something to be taken literal. It's just a story. Okay. So a lot of people do get that misconstrued, but yeah, you're right about that. But you notice most people that are into spirituality or those who know about Heru, they don't put up Christmas trees and the things that come with
Right.
that. And even with the New Year's, the Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, all those fall into that category. So I'm looking at the mindset again.
Okay.
When
So
we've been given those things, what do we do with those?
okay, so that's what I want to get clarification on,
Okay.
because the history of it, the root of it, as many tell. I'm not gonna say whether that that's valid or not. I'm saying that many tell me, well, that's an African thing. They stole our history,
Okay.
and they put it on the template of December the 25th,
Mhm.
and they made up a birth date for their religious. And then when I look at Christmas, it's not a religious holiday here.
Okay.
So it's been hijacked in a different way, because it's not really a religious holiday, because not unreligious people
Mhm.
celebrate
Mhm.
Christmas. You
Mhm.
have thugs in the street or people that don't care, when this is more of a purchasing holiday.
Yeah, it's
It's
commercialized. Exactly.
commercialized
Exactly.
holiday, which a lot of holidays are commercialized.
Mhm.
And I'm going to say this: when I first went to the Martin Luther King Day March
Mhm.
here in San Antonio, the biggest march in the country.
Mhm.
My first time going, I was heartbroken
Why is that, Kev?
because it was commercialized.
Okay.
The
Okay.
same thing that they did with Christmas.
Mhm.
When I went there, it was a lot of vendors there
Mhm. Mhm.
with selling different things,
Right.
or a lot of young hip hop artists selling their products, people selling hair stuff, and people selling their religion,
Mhm.
pushing their stuff. It was just
Wow.
so that was my first time. When I At that time, I was heartbroken.
Okay.
But what I had to do was step back and evolve and say, okay, if this is a celebration of Martin Luther King, and all of these people are going to be here, why not take advantage of the people being there? I'd rather see a lot of black booths, a lot of black vendors there, a majority black vendors, because it wasn't just black vendors there.
I
They
got you.
had all kind of people, but at least take advantage of the opportunity to have some type of economic
Mhm.
uh, uh, stimulation
Mhm.
from those black people that's going to be there. It's not only black people that show up there,
Mhm.
but I'm saying we should benefit more from
Exactly.
what. So then, after I thought about it, I was like, okay, I understand. We
Mhm.
should benefit from Martin Luther King Day March instead of somebody else benefiting, because it's going to be vendors there.
Right. Right.
So I started to rethink,
I got you.
and it wasn't so much of being disappointed.
Mhm.
And I started thinking, initially I was disappointed.
Okay. Okay.
So then I started saying, you know what? Hey, this is a celebration.
Mhm.
And if we're going to celebrate and there is going to be vendors there, then we should benefit off
And
of
see, this is why I want to jump in, and to your point,
it. Mhm.
I wanted to add to that, in that when we're talking about the mindset, this is exactly what you just elaborated on. You just elucidated on. It's the mindset.
Right.
In other words, whenever we get together and we do something, who should benefit from it?
Us.
Those are the questions that we should always be throwing out to us, as opposed to just doing something. As many of these holidays come up, and we don't think about who's benefiting from it, because we spend money. Let's face it, we give our money based upon the system we live in. We're trapped in a sense. So as much as we can, we should not give in to all of the fanfare and all of the other hype that comes with a holiday. Because most people, Kev, if you be honest about it, when we talk about celebration, the first thing we think about when we talk about celebration, it's not teaching, it's not learning, it's always trying to buy something or get high or get drunk. And that's not everybody. That's just
Right.
whenever we say, let's have a party, man. Instead of you saying, or me saying, let's get together and let's break open a book and let's talk about some principles in that book, we will want to go get something, to do something, to get our minds on a different level. And that's the reality of how we've been taught, which goes back to the mindset that you're talking about and that I'm talking about, that we need to discuss, that a lot of people don't want to hear. And I think
Right.
that's valid. It's very valid.
So the horse and the carriage. And I think a lot of times when people have these discussions about holidays,
Mhm.
about what's detrimental about the holidays, and I don't believe it's actually the holidays themselves. I think it's the mindset of our people.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of times we attack people, we attack the result
Mhm. Mhm.
instead of getting to the core of the problem. Because I'm gonna ask you this: what is the main issue that you have with Christmas?
Well, it's not so much the main issue. It's any holiday. It's not just Christmas. It's the thing that you said earlier. Whenever we have something that come up, we never look at who's benefiting from this. You know,
Okay.
we never, even with Kwanzaa, you know, that's become commercialized now where people are selling Black history, we're selling our ancestors. So it goes back to who taught us that.
Right. So like, when I was gonna say that, because we went to the Kwanzaa festival
Right.
a week after we did the show for the Kwanzaa show,
Hmm.
and we went there and there was vendors there and people selling all type of things. And I didn't see a problem with that.
Right.
It
Right.
was at a place that Black place,
Hmm.
the Black vendors were there. Even if if they allowed somebody else to come there, those people were renting that booth or something
Hmm.
from us. So I didn't see anything. The commercials, you have to make money.
Hmm.
Everybody has to make money to do things, to make things happen.
Hmm.
I believe we were touching on that before the show started. You have to have a plan to make money. If
Hmm.
people are going to make money, there was a food truck there,
Hmm.
Jamaican food truck, had lovely food, delicious food. Um, and I was thinking about the Kwanzaa market because they had to the festival had to make money.
Hmm.
And why not make money?
Right. Right.
So, and what I was asking about Christmas, the reason I put Christmas out there is because Christmas is the most lucrative time of year for this economy.
Right.
And if people are going to celebrate Christmas, I always submitted that celebrate it in a way, spend it, buy Black, go to Black businesses, give gifts for Black people. Now, I'm not going to do Christmas. You're probably not going to do Christmas, but I'm saying we're not going to get rid of Christmas.
No.
So to think that in a different mindset or to have a different mindset, my biggest problem with the Christmas they celebrate, it's not how Christmas started. I don't care, you know, what someone trying to commemorate or celebrate or whatever, but it's not really a religious holiday. Some people may stick to that, and I know people that do that. They don't give gifts and do stuff like that because actually the whole Christmas tree and all that stuff, that's spoken against doing that in the Bible.
Exactly.
So my thing is, if people are going to go out and spend money,
Hmm.
then spend it for Black businesses.
Hmm.
You know, then you're helping, you're benefiting. Our people is benefiting.
Hmm.
But don't go out and spend money the way that we're doing it for Black Friday and all these things, and then turn around and talk about being broke.
Right. Right. Right.
That's a mindset. That's the problem.
Hmm.
You know, if you want to go out and I say, I'm going to go buy this for my mom, I'm going to buy this for my sister, I'm going to buy this for my kids, and then January, I'm talking about I need money.
Yeah. And see, the other mindset that I want to throw in there along with that is sometimes when things happen, we sweep them under the carpet. And you say, what do you mean by that? This is what I mean. Instead of looking at what this does to us mentally, because a lot of us now, we actually have turned it into something that it shouldn't be. You know, even when it comes to the African festivals that we celebrate, African History Month and so forth and all of that. My whole thing is this: we can do what we want to do because we're not going to stop it. We're not trying to, but there should be some type of teaching. Everything we do, there's a teaching that goes behind it. In other words, why do we do what we do? Most of that has a foundation. And I'm at the point now where I'm saying, just because people do what they do, that doesn't mean that we throw that away, because people can do what they want to do. So the point I'm trying to make is, when you get through with all of these holidays, when you get through with all this, most of the time we don't benefit, because if on the 4th of July, I want to go buy me an outfit, you say, well, that's fine, John, you can buy you an outfit. I want to go get the American flag and I want to go to the park. I want to barbecue, drink beer, do all of that's fine. But when Juneteenth comes, I don't think of Juneteenth as it's significant to me. And so I'm saying that that's a mindset. Now, maybe I don't know, and maybe I do know, maybe I don't give a damn. So I'm saying at some point in time, the teachings that we're doing now, we have to get into the teachings as to why do you celebrate the 4th of July, and you can do what you want to do. But yet when Juneteenth comes around, you care less about it, or your friends and all the people that you're with, they're going to do the 4th of July, watch the fireworks. But how significant is that to you from a historical perspective when our ancestors were enslaved? And there's nothing that anyone can tell me, because I'm open to all ideas and truth. But that's just what I'm saying, that we have to challenge each other. We can't make people, but at least we can put it out there. Maybe you don't know that. So I must come to you as a brother and say, hey, man, Juneteenth is our quote unquote. We know we're not literally free, can do whatever we want to do. But that's a day that we should recognize and honor and celebrate based upon the history that has happened to us in the past. And I see nothing wrong with that.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that like if we bring Juneteenth to the table and we talk about blacks, the celebration of Juneteenth. I just posted something on my Facebook page. It was 1976 Buffalo, New York
Okay.
celebration. And this is what I tell people when I grew up. This was Juneteenth, and it looked like the Martin Luther King Day March here in San Antonio.
Okay.
People had barbecue pits, but the thing is, like here, people sell turkey legs on the side of the road and stuff. But there, it was just people barbecuing, and people could just eat.
Okay.
And if you see this festival going on, and it was so nostalgic for me because I was like, I was there. I was a little kid, and this is what y'all showing, and this celebration that'll make people today proud.
Okay.
Now I know we do something here in San Antonio in the afternoon, but we have to make Juneteenth big. So it's not that somebody else is going to do that for us.
Right.
So if it's not big, and if it's not big for our people, that means we got work to do.
Exactly.
That we're not doing our job as intellectuals, as leaders in our community, because we should make Juneteenth the biggest celebration,
True.
and not Thanksgiving, and
Right.
not Christmas,
True.
or not 4th of July or whatever. So people they should see it, because what made you first celebrate Independence Day if you ever celebrated Independence Day?
It was just my upbringing, my teaching.
Right. So we have to teach differently.
Exactly.
So when I was coming up, 4th of July was okay, but Juneteenth was like, ooh, wow, it's coming. And it was hundreds and hundreds of people on Jefferson Avenue in Buffalo. And it's just coming up, the people dancing, the music playing, the barbecue, and it was a big thing.
Okay.
But it's not a big thing anymore.
Right.
So who dropped the ball?
We did because because a lot of times we like to blame other people, and we have our moments where we need to put the blame where it is. But sometimes we don't like to discuss the fact that as teachers, as parents, as brothers and sisters, those who know, we don't think that it's important enough to blow the trumpet when Juneteenth comes around, when Black History comes around, when Kwanzaa comes around. A brother told me, I don't celebrate Kwanzaa. And I said, well, that's your choice. That's fine. And I said, well, and I just asked him, I said, well, man, why don't you? So he went off on me just because I asked him, why doesn't he celebrate Kwanzaa? And he thought I was being personal, but I was just thinking, okay, you celebrate other holidays, but Kwanzaa is a cultural celebration, and there's nothing wrong with the principles of Kwanzaa. We need that today. So why would you not at least think about it? But I think his issue was that a Black man started Kwanzaa.
Yeah, somebody told me that too.
Okay.
Somebody that I actually respect, and he said, man, they made that up. I'm like, they made up Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, I had a whole show probably 4 years ago, and there's the lies, something about what lies beneath the lies that they told us. And we know Thanksgiving didn't happen like that. Most Black people that celebrate Thanksgiving is not under some blanket thinking that it was actually a great thing when the Pilgrims came here and they got what every Black person basically know today how they did to Native Americans. Yet we continue to celebrate it. And I asked someone about that actually was on the show with me, talking about the lies of Thanksgiving and all these things. And he still celebrates Thanksgiving. And he still asks me, do I not tell him every year? No, I don't do Thanksgiving. But his thing is, it's a time that Black families get together. And I'm like, well, Black families could get together anytime. This is how I was a year ago.
Okay.
Now I'm starting to think, me spending all this energy talking about why we do it on this day, does that the balance between that and the fact that Black families are getting together and doing something, how does that weigh out?
Okay, see, here's where I like to interject into that. And again, I get that. I've heard that too. But here's where I want to put something in there. Why does it take for someone else to put something together for you and your family to get together? Why can't you call, let's say, August, and round up your family and say, let's get together and let's just let's celebrate whatever. Okay, let's reflect on our history. Let's reflect on our family. Let's sit around and let's do some very positive things. Let's encourage one another. But see, we always, because of tradition, is set. See, and so we take the narrative and we change it, and then we say, well, this is a time for Black people to get together. So okay, it may be, but you're doing it because this is something that is constant every year.
It's established by somebody else.
So why can't you and why can't you call me and say, John, let's get together, man. Let's have some fun. Let's barbecue or whatever. And then let's sit around after we get through and let's talk about how we can talk about self-determination, how we can talk about cooperative economics. See, these are the types of things that I'm saying that it's the mindset. So again, my sister, and I love her to death, she sends me a Christmas card every year, Kev. and she knows what I believe about that. Now, but it's like if you tell me you don't drink coffee, and I know you don't drink coffee, why would I bring you coffee even though you told me you don't? So that's a mindset, man. So, and it's like these are the types of things that we don't want to discuss, but it's because people have been so conditioned, you see, we have assimilated to that type of mindset in many instances. We're going to do what our hearts tell us to do because we've been taught that since we were little kids. And it's like, what do? You teach about
We
it.
have to, yeah, we have to change the way the next generation is being taught as little kids.
Yeah.
And many of us have got to get together, even if it's, and this is what I'm saying, if somebody's going to get together at whatever time they're going to get together at, then I got to use that to my advantage. If they're going to use Martin Luther King Day March to get together and just, even if it's for them a fashion show, or for them the time to sell my CD or put out something about my business, because I got all these black people here, this is an opportunity for me to capture all these black folks.
Well, Kev,
so use them and use the opportunity to change what's happening.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful what you're saying. But in reality, and and there are people that actually do that. So you're not alone in thinking that, because we're the lone rangers and lone strangers. Because when we get together as a family, there's oftentimes people who say, "Hey, let's look at this a little closer, okay? Let's talk about what we can do to better ourselves as a family." But for the most part, I'm telling you now, and I believe you know this, and everyone else knows this. When we get together for a so-called holiday, you already know no one's going to leave those presents under that tree and talk about how we can be best, people. We're going to open the presents. We're going to thank, a God or whatever the case is. We're going to drink eggnog. We may do other things, but the whole atmosphere is not about us as a family. It's about that day that they say that a man died for them and rose, not realizing 325 AD, Constantine, the Roman emperor, had a lot to do with all of this.
Yeah, I didn't experience that growing up. I didn't see, even up until my years right before I stopped Christmas, during Christmas, it wasn't a religious thing to me.
Wow.
It was a time that we gave gifts, and it wasn't no Santa Claus things with the kids. So I didn't get that.
Good.
And I understand that some people, that's what some people do. And if that's on them, then that's for their church to correct that problem. And that's for their pastor. If it's going to be a religious celebration, some people just buy gifts because it's that time of year. But my thing is, if that's what you're going to do, buy it from black people.
I hear you.
That helps us out. And I'm saying use, because we could sit here and say, well, don't do it, or it's not going to matter. People going, this stuff that we talking about at Christmas and Jesus and all this stuff, and he wasn't born in December.
Right.
People been hearing about that for ever since, I'm gonna say 30 years ago that I know of. I've read Anthony Browder's books and Check Diop, and I didn't heard the story of Haru or Horus and Isis and all this stuff, and it's stolen. But however people celebrate Christmas, it's people that celebrate Christmas that don't have a religious bone in their body. But I'm saying, if you're gonna do it, then let me just say, employ you, buy it from us.
I got you.
It's an economic time. It's like billions of dollars that this country makes on Black Friday. Go to black business and buy stuff. If I went to the Kwanzaa market and bought books for everybody for whatever on Black Friday for Christmas, then it's helping my people.
Yeah.
And if I tell somebody else that smell like weed, that come in the store, say, man, you looking for a gift to get somebody, buy it from us. Then at least it's benefiting us.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, don't leave that stuff alone, leave Christmas alone.
And that's a good notion that you're saying. And I think we're up against what is called time, because people have been celebrating this since it's come here, and people will celebrate it long after we're gone. And so what I'm saying is, I totally agree with you as far as the economic aspect. We should be on that mindset. That's that mindset that we're talking about that we should have. But, a lot of times when it comes to these holidays, many of us, not all of us, many of us are locked and loaded on Thanksgiving. We want to eat, man. We don't care about the history of it. We want to eat. And then a lot of people say, well, this is a time for families to get together, to share and to break bread, something like that.
Right.
So it's like the holidays are going to take their toll, regardless of what we say or what we teach.
Right.
There are many people that we will not be able to get to because their minds have been so conditioned, and that's something that they have to deal with. But to those that do, which, in between, it's our responsibility, whether they hear it or not, is to share with them the truth. Because when I get together with my family, even though they don't want to hear it. Now, I don't browbeat them. I don't go in there. If I go to somebody's house, they got a Christmas tree. I don't jump on the tree, tear it down, kick it, and drag it around. No, I don't do that. But I'm saying when I have these discussions like you and I are having, I'm the outcast. I'm the crazy man. I'm the one who always comes in trying to uproot something that is good, you see. So this is the kind of mindset that many people that I know that they give, or they don't want to. You come here talking about buy from black people if you're going to buy, and you'll get kicked into you know what, because most people don't think like that.
And that's fine. I don't expect most people to do it, but it's going to be a gradual thing. Because if most people was doing it, we wouldn't be in a predicament as a people that we're in. So I got to expect that. And so what started happening slowly to people I know, because people was always wanting to give me Christmas gifts. And I say, nah, I don't do that. I don't accept that. Well, just open it up on New Year's. It's still the same thing.
Right.
It's wrapped in Christmas. Well, I don't do it. And then they slowly started to come around to not doing it for me because I wasn't accepting the gifts. Even if they gave me a gift from a black place, I wouldn't accept it.
Okay.
But I'm saying you have to start. People can't just jump there and say, if I go there and I say, this Christmas tree. Now, the people that spent all this money on these decorations, they've been doing this for years. It's something that their kids are looking forward to. And that's a hard thing for somebody to just go cold turkey on. And if I say, well, no, I don't do this, instead of me barking at them, like you say, you don't thump at them or not. I just, hey, I don't do this. And people may ask me why. Now, I've had people that come on and they ask me things after an occasion. They say, do you mind if I ask you a question? And they had that private and they say, okay, I understand. Because of the way I delivered it. When I delivered it, I don't go to Christmas parties at the job and things like that. I don't do Thanksgiving meals at the job. So that's how I deal with that. But I think it's the way that we have to approach things. Thanksgiving, if everybody comes around at Thanksgiving, this is a time, I'm going to take that time to say, well, you know what? Let me show y'all what's going on, just like they do for Martin Luther King Day March. Let me show y'all what's happening. You know what? I got a store over here. I know of a place that do it because they're going to come there regardless. So I'm not going to stay away. I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity. We got family here. Let's make some investment. Let's talk for a second instead of watching the game, because many of us get together, we watch the game. If they got games on Thanksgiving, many people going to be glued to the game whether they eating or not. So people partaking in these Thanksgiving festivities anyway. So what I'm saying is, you got your people around. Whatever reason you got your people around, talk to your people, take advantage of it.
And that's the good, Kev. That's really good. One of the things that I have to admit now is the religious ideologies that come behind Christmas, at least, because there are other ones they don't really support it or not support it. The thing about that is, some religions they frown upon that whole ideal of Christmas and what it stands for. And I appreciate that, because a lot of times I may say things about different religions, but that's personal. But the bottom line is, many of them say don't partake in that. But then there are some that's what everything is banking on. Everything is banking on. You go to certain places and you see the very things that we're talking about is just on a level of just mass. So it's like, if you go to the store and you purchase a rubber band, once you pay for it, the person behind the counter, after you listen to the music that you didn't ask to listen to, they're going to thank you and they're going to say Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year. They don't give a damn what you think or what you believe, because this is that mindset that I'm telling you about, that it's not going to go anywhere, but this is what we're dealing with. And so what do? Everywhere we go, we're going to be explaining to people, because this time, like, the guy's on the side of the road and his car is broken and he has a flat tire. Somebody pulls over and helps him, right? And then we ask that person that helped him, why did you help him? They said, well, this is the time for giving. This is a time for sharing. But if it was February throughout the rest of the year, they're going to leave him on the side of the road.
If I take that into consideration, if my car broke down or my mom was in a car that broke down, I don't care why they stopped and helped her. I'm going to be happy that they helped her, for one. If somebody tells me Merry Christmas, I care less. You know what? That's cool. It has no effect on me whatsoever. I could be tired of hearing it. It's people that come up to you and say, hey, how you doing? Then they don't want to hear it. Because that's just a greeting or whatever. And that happens all throughout the year. How you been? I ain't seen you. And you want to tell them what's happening and they want to tune you out. Oh, man, Giles always complaining about, I got things to do, So they'll say stuff and it doesn't mean anything. That's what I'm saying. We got a lot of comments from Ray Coleman, man. This is on our live chat. So let me start with some of this. He said European holidays is anti-Black traditional programming. Whatever that means, I'm saying, anti-Black traditional programming. I don't know what's black traditionally because we don't really have traditions here.
Okay.
So I say I appreciate that comment. He said the problem with Christmas is black people systematically steal the poorest population in America instead of use resisting giving the same system that keep us suffering economically or economical black disparities. I'm trying to decipher that. I
Okay.
understand that. I mean, I think we covered that,
Yeah.
that we are economically strained
Mm-hmm.
and we go out of our way
Mm-hmm.
to give people presents and to spend all
Get
this
in
money that
debt.
we're
Right.
spending. We're people that can least afford that.
Right.
And I understand, I appreciate that. And it's also, he says, me personally, I'm not free. Celebrating Juneteenth is celebrating Jim Crow. Uh, Black codes and systemic COINTELPRO operations that keep us second class free,
Let me have
free
that one.
range, unprivileged
Okay.
debtor slaves.
Let me have that one because I know this brother and we're really good friends and in all love and out of respect to what he's saying. I don't fully get that. Juneteenth has nothing to do with Jim Crow. Now that was something that was going on. Juneteenth was the day that we were quote unquote emancipated, even though we know today we're not. So
Right.
what would you rather have? Would you rather be back in that time where you had the chains on you or you were called this and you were done this way? Because they're still doing it today.
Jim Crow came after
Yeah.
the release of the
Yeah.
slaves.
And so I think a lot of times we throw the baby out with the bathwater. And sometimes we can't do that. Because Juneteenth, there's nothing wrong with acknowledging what our ancestors went through, Kev. I'd be damned if I'm gonna sit on a broadcast or any the fact that it was because of some of them that we were free. They didn't just give their life.
And let me jump in on this.
Sure.
A prisoner will celebrate his day of release,
Of course.
even though he may have done something wrong or whatever the circumstances.
Right.
If a woman was being held hostage and raped and doing and beat and everything like that, and she was escaped or released, she's going to celebrate that. She's going to be happy with that.
Should, right.
But black people somehow is not expected to be happy from being released from torture, rape, and murder,
right,
and the selling of their
hanging
kids,
and all
things that they've been fighting for
exactly
and fighting to be free of.
Yeah.
And if they somehow got emancipated, whatever way or reason or why,
yeah,
we should be happy.
Yeah, that's, and I mean, people can have their own view, and I respect that if people don't celebrate and all that. But I look at the historical aspect behind it, and I have to reflect on how did this come about. You know, regardless of the Emancipation Proclamation, a lot of our ancestors died. Man, they were hung, as you mentioned. They were raped, they were pillaged, they were plundered, they were they were done all types of ways. And so now that when this Juneteenth come around, I just don't see the harm and the evil or the nonchalant attitude that I should have towards that when I realize
I hear people say that, oh, y'all celebrating being released and being like, yeah, we are.
Yeah. What would you rather have?
I mean, I tell them if you was locked up in prison, people count down their day to release. So I'm happy they get out there, go pick their man up at the police at the prison, and be celebrating and doing. But now we not supposed to do that. And this is not a shot at you, Ray. I'm gonna read some of your comments. He said, also now that Juneteenth is a federal holiday, so it really is no longer a black holiday. It's a federal commercialized holiday. I don't agree with that, but I appreciate the comment. I mean, it being federal or not, I care less. Malcolm X Day to me is not a federal holiday. Does that mean I'm not going to celebrate it? If they do make it a federal holiday, am I going to not celebrate it because it's federal? And trust me, it's a whole lot of people. People talk about what's that Lucky Charm Day? What's that?
The leprechaun thing?
The leprechaun.
I guess
St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
Those people don't celebrate Juneteenth. It's a federal holiday, and I guarantee you, it's a lot of white people. It's a lot of Irish, Italians, Asian people that don't celebrate Juneteenth, so they can make it a federal holiday, and I could care less whether they did it or not because that's our day.
And that's to your point. Everybody's not going to celebrate every day that comes up. Okay, it's just that simple.
He said also Kwanzaa is an influence of Christmas. It was
no. Let me go ahead. And I'll deal with you. Go ahead.
Hold on, bro.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's say, and also Kwanzaa is a foreign influence of Christmas.
Okay.
It was no Christmas. it would be no Kwanzaa. Besides, true African-based spiritualists live their spirituality every day.
Okay, let me have that one. Okay, and here's the deal. Kwanzaa was not a spinoff from Christmas. Kwanzaa was founded in 1966 by a man named Malana Karinga. Malana Karinga started Kwanzaa based upon the Watts riots in the 1960s, and he looked at our condition as a people, and he said, we need a cultural celebration because we don't have a cultural celebration. So he took concepts from East Africa, the Swahili language, the Nguzo Saba, and all of these principles, and he turned it into something beautiful, something marvelous. It had nothing to do with Christmas. So, and even with the Zawadi, if you want to look at the Zawadi, the gifts during Kwanzaa, the last day of Kwanzaa, those are not presents. Those are educational gifts. Those are teaching gifts. Those are not Tonka trucks. Those are not baby dolls. Those are not toys. So you have to look at the context, man.
Man, maybe you could get ready to call in at 361
Well, you know,
405
no, we're having some difficulties with that. I don't even see
that's
it,
fine.
but we'll
that's
give him a call.
All right,
in.
well, sorry about that. And I'm gonna put this because I didn't read this when he said, and he was given in 1965. Karenga and Hakeem Jamal co-founded the Black nationalist group US organization, which is something we know, and that's I appreciate that historical lesson. He said, which became involved in a violent clash with the Black Panther Party by 1969. And I don't know what that has to do with it, because actually what happened with that, you had the federal government. Let me bring that up, right?
Okay.
You had the federal government playing both sides, and they met up at the college, and they were supposed to talk and have a truce, and they let some of the US organization come in with guns. They sent notifications saying that it was no guns allowed,
Right.
and they had a couple of brothers from the Black Panther Party and the US organization, and they clashed. But what was happening that preceded that, the FBI was sending information to the Black Panther Party saying this is from the US organization, and the US organization vice versa. So they were playing both sides and trying to incite an incident, and they succeeded in doing that.
Right,
so
right.
I don't get it. And so if they had a clash, that was something that was, that's, people have clashes every day.
Right.
Martin Luther King, Malcolm X had a
Right,
clash.
right.
They didn't agree. W.E.B. Du Bois and Garvey, they didn't agree.
Mhm.
So that doesn't mean that we're gonna throw out one side or the other side, and it doesn't mean anything as far as what Kwanzaa stands for.
Kevin, everything has context.
Mhm.
And when you look at the context of everything, it makes a little bit more sense. Because once we see something and we just start shooting at it, it's like me coming in somebody's home and trying to find someone who needs to be dealt with and shooting in the dark. And I'm shooting everybody in the room. Once I turn the lights on, I see I've shot all these innocent people, and I didn't have to, when all I had to do was turn on the light and check out the person.
That's a good analogy. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying, Ray, is that I understand. I already know what you're talking about, but I'm understanding what happened. And if I dig deeper into what happened, I understand what happened. It was, the government was behind a lot of that was happening. They were two different organizations. Does that mean that what the organization created was not a good idea?
Right.
So did they think about Christmas and say, oh, we need something to be like Christmas? And that's what a lot of people, I'm gonna say this, a lot of people that's ignorant about Kwanzaa, they think that that's just a black people trying to do Kwanzaa. Do you think about that with Hanukkah? Hanukkah was in December.
Right.
Did you think about the Jewish people they don't even believe in Jesus in the birth, but they have Hanukkah doing that the same December. So we don't do that, and no one else does that but us against each other. But I appreciate that. Do you want me to read anything else?
Do you have any other people that's commenting?
No, I was on the this is all on YouTube.
Okay.
But let me jump to the Facebook page.
Because Kev, while you're getting there, this is a very wholesome conversation, man. It really is, because sometimes we have things that happen to us, and when we assimilate, it does something to a lot of our minds. And this is what we're saying now. Even if you assimilate, don't forget the precious meaning behind what you're doing and why you're doing it, and make sure we benefit at the end of the day of whatever we do. And that's something that a lot of people, we don't like to talk about, because we don't benefit, because we're too busy giving everything we have to others and don't think that there's a consequence for that.
Okay. Yeah. On my Facebook page, if y'all making comments, it's not showing me any comments. I did see a notification that somebody said something, but it's not showing me what you said. So I apologize if I'm not able to.
Ken, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question about just the holidays. When people say this, they say it's these holidays are okay, okay, regardless of what Jah, you and Kev are saying. I could care less about what y'all saying. All this is for the kids and my grandkids. What do you say to those types of people? It's for the kids,
right.
Is it really?
I thought about that.
Okay.
And my thing is, that's a deep, because I grew up with that,
I got
and I
you.
understand how people want to do things for kids. And if you have a child, and this is a tough thing for me, and this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I didn't do Christmas for my kids.
Okay.
I never did, and that was where it stopped.
I got you.
So, but for them to see their cousins,
Mhm.
their friends all getting gifts,
Mhm.
that do kind of, I feel that, you know
Okay.
what I'm saying? But
Mm.
I had to imprint that in their mind. I don't do this.
Mhm. Mhm.
And even though you're a casualty of it,
Right,
and I
right.
understand, but my thing is I make that up for them
Okay.
throughout the year.
See, then that's what I want to come and jump in on, because I'm the same way you were when it comes to Christmas. My son never had Christmas, but I taught him at a young age, and as he grew, he really understood the reason as to why. And because I did do for him throughout the year, when other kids had toys, he never felt, and I never felt, that I was less than a parent because he didn't get
Mhm.
anything. Because we really understand. A lot of people may not teach that. But he knew at a young age, I'm talking about 6, plex. He accepted. And when we would go to the store, I taught him, when people would ask him questions about what's your dad going to get you for Christmas, he would tell them, we don't believe in that. And he would
Right.
respect them. But he knew at a young age, and so did I, because when you do, like you just mentioned, all year round, children wouldn't be feeling that way, even though
Right.
their friends get it.
Right. Now the problem that, see, like when I came up in New York, it was a high Jewish population there.
Okay.
Okay. So when we were in school, I can't even, I don't know why. I don't know why we had Jewish kids in our school, but because it was in the hood. But they didn't celebrate the holidays like that.
Uh-huh.
And we thought they were like outcast, like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? We didn't
Wow.
understand their religious beliefs.
Right.
So, but see, it's in their family.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem that I had, it wasn't in my family. So when they were with their mom, of course, they did Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
When they went to their grandma's house, they did Christmas.
Okay.
I'm the only one that didn't have a tree up. So it's like, so if it was in the family,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be more understood.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
takes a little more to say, well, hey, just like Halloween, like my grandkids, my kids, whatever they choose to do with with my grandkids,
They
that's
do.
on them.
Right.
And they do the Halloween thing. And my thing was, Halloween came from this, and I'm looking at where it originated from and all this, the Day of the Dead, all this stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the bottom of the, we spend a lot of money for Halloween.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and sometimes I do believe that that's for the kids.
Mhm.
Halloween is for the kids. For me to sit there and be like, I don't do Halloween. I don't give out candy.
Mhm.
But if I see them doing it, that's cool.
Mhm.
You want to be a fireman, you want to do this, you want to be little princess, that's fine. I
Mhm.
don't have anything about that.
Okay. See, my thing is, I respect what you said, and I get the idea what you're saying, because to some people, like you said, that's for the kids. But I always ask myself questions about when kids are involved. First of all, we live in a society that many of us, we've become upside down.
Mm-hmm.
The kids, not the little kids, but our kids that have grown up, they run us now. They tell us what to do. We're so stressed out with our kids because the roles have been reversed. And all I'm saying is, the kids don't buy the presents. The kids don't make their homes look like runways. The kids don't buy Christmas trees. The kids don't go out and shoot guns in the 1st of January. The kids don't bake the cakes and the food that we eat on these days. We do this as adults. And if we're willing and big enough to do it as adults, I'm saying the least we can do is just teach them what the value of, when you say, okay, I'm going to celebrate this day. And then you ask the questions as to why. Now, they're going to do what they want to do, like you said. When kids get grown and you get your children, they're going to do, and that's not for you.
Right.
But as they're growing up, I'm sure you did what you're supposed to do as a parent, and that was you taught the significance of the day. So once they got older and they did what they want to do, that's fine. You have a son or daughter, you raise them up the right way, and once they get in their 20s, they rob a bank, kill people, go to the pen. That's not your fault. That's the choice that they made because they chose to do that.
All right. So y'all hear that? Like, y'all celebrating Halloween is just like y'all robbing the bank. Y'all letting me down by doing that. Your man Ray say he gonna call you later. He said it's
man.
okay to He say it's okay. We all must do our own program.
Yeah,
This is what
I really
I
want
do
Ray.
in my programming with no compromise.
Mhm.
So I guess he think we compromising. That's
Well,
cool, Ray. That's cool. And I'll be interested in having. I wish you could have
yeah,
called
in
in.
fact, but I'll talk to Ray this evening, and we'll make sure that he can call in, and then we can have. Because here's a brother, man. That, in fact, to be honest with you, Ray is in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Mhm.
I spent most of my time as a kid all the way till my early 20s, 18 to 19 or 20 in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We went to school together. This is a brother that has turned over a new leaf. He was wild. He was a fighter. He cursed like a sailor, but he turned his life around when he started studying. He went to the military, and we still keep in touch. He watches the broadcast that I have on Wednesdays, and he comments. And I think it would be a good thing for Ray to actually, like you said, come on and be able to articulate so that we can both have an intelligent conversation. It's hard sometimes to read comments.
Yeah, the read comments.
Yes.
I know. I'm gonna say this. Ray said, he said, me personally, I don't do any holidays but Mother Day. Now, if I go into Mother's Day, I could go into why,
Well, he's
and
going to
brother,
tell
that's
you.
not Africa. That's
He
actually,
says it is. He
yeah.
see, like, he
And
told me
see,
it was
now, see, that's the same thing I said about Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Now, see, but see, here in America, that's not mother, because that's actually, that day is from a certain woman's mother that was dying, and
Exactly.
so we
In the United States,
right
right?
in the United States,
Right.
and she gave all the mothers she knew flowers.
Yeah.
And stuff. And
But-
what happened? It got commercialized. So
Mhm.
you could come up with, well, it started here and here, but that's not what it is. That's the conversation we was having
Right.
when people say about the birth of Horus was
Right,
only,
right,
and
right.
the Egyptians celebrated, and then it was hijacked
Right,
and
right,
taken
right.
into another religion, and that's what we do
Mhm.
over here.
Mhm.
We don't commemorate Horus on December 25th,
Right.
or whether we think we should. But if you want to say that you do Mother's Day, then
Mhm.
don't do Mother's Day on the day that they do it here, because it's been hijacked, and this is the day that they give candy, flour, and they commercialize. That's a contradiction, I'm gonna say. So you could justify doing whatever you want to do. That's fine.
Mhm.
But I'm saying, don't knock somebody. Don't be the hypocrite. That's
Mhm.
all I'm saying.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that you, Ray. I'm saying
understand.
we as black, we have people that say, well, don't do Thanksgiving because this, and it's like nobody in that house at that time believes that the Pilgrims did anything with the Indians. But what they do, they say, well, you know what? That's fine. My kid comes home from college on this time. We get together as a family and we have loving conversation. And I used to say, we'll do that anytime. But the thing is, like we talk about Halloween and stuff like that for the kids. Sometimes it's the elder people that we're doing Thanksgiving for, because they look forward to it. That's the time that they want to cook and they want to do all this stuff. And they want to be with Big Mama. And some of our memories, or some of our fondest memories is that. And to me, I'm saying, I understand the historical, the nonsense of it. But also I understand. So that's what I was talking about, weighing it. Okay, when my mom wanted to do Thanksgiving, okay, well, we could do that.
Right. And see, Kev, going back to Mother's Day, the starting of Mother's Day in the United States was started by a lady named Anna Jarvis. And she hated, at the end of her life, they put her in an insane asylum. Check it out if you think I'm lying. They put her in an insane asylum. I believe it was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because when she got older, she regretted the fact that she started it, because she didn't want it to commercialize it.
Right.
And so now that has been hijacked.
Right.
And so now we're in a situation where when you do, especially when you talk about your mother, father, most of us think, well, that's personal. Well, even in the Bible, it talks about honoring one's mother and father. That doesn't happen on a certain day, Kev. That happens every day. It doesn't just happen on the birthday. You cuss your mother and parents, or you treat them, don't even help them, but then on one day you want to give them flowers. That's not a fair thing. That's not right.
I'm gonna say this. For me, I'm gonna tell you, Mother's Day for me
every day.
I care less about the commercialized Mother's Day.
Right.
Mother's Day is the day I was born.
Whoa, Kev.
That's when I got my mother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
that's
sir.
a personal day for me and my mother.
Yeah.
And anybody, I want to take her to the movies. I want to take her to eat. And I'll call her and she might be like, nah, you don't have to. I know I don't. But no, this is Mother's Day to me. This is what it is. I don't care about celebrating my birthday.
I got you.
My birthday, celebrating my birthday, that's a personal thing between me and my mother.
Wow.
The person that was there
Wow.
when I first seen life. So that's how I celebrate Mother's Day. You could celebrate Mother's Day. I'm not going to knock how you celebrate it. But I'm saying the hypocrisy is to condemn somebody else for doing something or creating something for our culture. And then you're doing something that's commercialized.
Exactly. You don't even care about your parents throughout the year, but except for on that one day. You don't call them. You don't take care of their meds. You don't go to see them. But then when the day comes up, you want to shower them with flowers. But I envy you, man. In my eyes, I look at you with tears in my eyes, because I wish I could do that for
Right.
my mother. You know, my mother has been deceased for at least 30 years now. And when I hear you say those things, like, it puts a lump in my throat, seriously, because I wish I had that opportunity. And here you are saying you don't care about a day. That's your mama. And
Right.
that's how it's supposed to be, brother.
Right. All right. Now, he said he'll call you later. He said trick or treating is very bad and unsafe idea. I appreciate that. And he said, no, I don't think you are compromising. I'm talking about my programming. Okay. And I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you contributing to the show.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah. If we get this phone line up, man, we'll be able to have.
Yeah,
I know we would have gotten
everything.
A lot of phone calls.
I mean, because I can't see any comments on Facebook. Like I said, I apologize to y'all.
Yeah.
Hopefully, y'all have some comments I see after the show, but it's nothing that I could read. And so when we're talking about the holidays, man,
that mindset.
and things that the thing is, I remember on the 700 Club, lady called in, Pat Robertson, the preacher, and she was like, "Dad's telling us, my people at my job is telling me that Christmas is a pagan holiday, and that." And she want him to. And he say, "They're right." And that what that did, that told me. He told her, he broke down. You on this evangelist? You're an evangelist, and you're on the show, and you know it is. But you're not disseminating that to your audience because you got a Christian audience. But when she calls in and you have to answer, he was like, "Yeah, basically they're right." And He went into the history of Christmas and when they started using it and the whole thing, gifts and all that stuff like that. But then he went into this, and it's also the whole thing about giving and love and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, and that let me know that no matter what, people are going to do what they want to do.
You're going to do
and Easter is another one.
Oh boy,
Easter. I mean, because and then when I'm looking at it, I can't tell the church. I can't say that because this is their biggest turnout, and you're not going to cut off, And then this is a time when I look at it like this. Also, this may be a time that you could reach people if you could get people in your church from their mindset, and you could get them to come for whatever reason they come, and maybe you could get them to stay. So they're not going to say that, because people believe whatever they believe, and they come and they're going to flood and you're probably going to get more money in the collection plate than any time. So I'm not expecting you to say, well, Easter is made up or anything like that.
People are going to do what they want to do, whether I give them the truth, or they give me the truth, or you give them the truth, or they give you the truth. We are creatures of habit. Many of us are, and we get things taught to us at a young age. And sometimes we search and research as we get older, and other times we don't let them go. And if someone comes to us and tries to share with us, the significance of those days, we're going to have a problem with that person, as opposed to saying, let me research that. And then the sad thing about it is, even when we find out what is true about these days, because we've been doing it for so long, traditionally, we're going to continue to do it. Because the power that's within us, like with me, everybody's not like me. I'm not like everybody else, but I'm just so thankful that my mindset is, if you share with me something right now, and I have been thinking about something else for all these years, at least I'm going to go research it.
Right.
And then if I find out more information, I'll be like, Kev, thanks, man. You were right. I'm not going to turn you off or call you a name or get angry with you just because you're saying, Jah, have you ever looked at this? And a lot of us don't, we can't have that kind of discussion, man.
Yeah, because we get in conversations where we automatically have a certain stance on things. And when we have discussions, we are automatically tuning people out that's saying something different, and we want to be argumentative, and we're just listening to reply instead of listening to consideration that, hey, I may be, you giving me different information. I looked that up. I don't believe it. I don't believe it, but I looked that up. And then, hey, I may look it up and say, okay, I see what you were saying. Then I had to go back and reassess how I think about things. Like I said, I've reassessed this holiday thing over and over, and even did shows saying this, and this. But then I had to sit back after I talked to people and I thought about it. This is how I feel now. Now, next year I may feel a totally different thing.
Right.
But the thing is that I wanted to say, man, the problem is our people. Of educating our people. That's what I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
Because if you teach them as kids the importance of Juneteenth, if you teach them as kids that this day or this Thanksgiving, and maybe they will start to change that, because that's going to be the new family.
Right.
The elders are going to die off, and the ones that stuck in their tradition.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna bring up something from the Bible, and I'm not Christian or Ray, whatever y'all want to say.
Okay.
But the story about the children of Israel leaving Egypt, and it said for 40 years.
Mm.
Right. And I taught and I spoke on this before, and I said, well, what's the significance of that? Because when Moses,
Mhm.
I'm using two different
I got you.
languages.
I understand.
Well, Musa came down,
Mhm.
peace be upon him. He came down from the mountain, and the children of Israel had started doing the things that they were doing in Egypt,
Mhm.
worshiping
Mhm.
idols and stuff. And the punishment, or the so-called punishment, was for 40 days. 40 years.
Mhm.
They wasn't going to reach the promised land. And I was trying to say that this is a time to filter out the
Mm.
old people that's used to the old ways. You're going to
Mhm.
have a new generation coming up.
Mhm.
Those people that's 40 years old now, 50
Mhm.
years old, that's in control
Mhm.
and leading people astray to
Mhm.
go back to what they grew up doing, they're going to be dead by the
Wow.
time you get there.
Mhm.
So now it's a filtration process.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, if we start now teaching kids,
Mhm.
informing kids, informing people that may be able to pass that along to their kids,
Mhm.
then those old traditions that we used to do,
Mhm.
they're going to die out
Yeah, you're right,
in the
Kev.
family. And
You're
then
right.
they're not going to, even if we say, I understand Christmas,
Mhm.
but stop spending your money
Yeah.
and wasting your money
Mhm.
on games and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and then complaining about being broke.
Yeah, you're getting in debt, but you know that's true, because it goes back to us. We are going to have to constantly teach, whether we like it or not, because it's not going anywhere. It's not going to go away. So it's incumbent upon us to teach. But this is why I like when we talk a lot of times off the air. You may ask me a question about a spiritual concept that you heard. You know, man said that the sun is God and all that. We're like, no, 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 no. And then if there's a question that I have when it comes to Islam,
Mhm.
you know, I'll shoot it by you, and then you're going to give me the insight that you have
Right.
studied. You know, you're
Right.
not going to give me something that another man said. Basically, you know, you're going to say, well, hey, this is how I understand that.
Right.
And I think these are the conversations that we can have, because you know, we both, but we damn sure love to do a broadcast to help
Right.
free our people.
And that's
And
why I
that's how it's
started
supposed to be.
saying that we're two intellectual, cerebral brothers, that we could have a conversation about something.
Yeah.
This is something that people can learn from.
Mhm.
Have that conversation at home
Mhm.
without attacking somebody and being
Mhm.
like, well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, then
Yeah.
you're not going to get anywhere with that.
Yeah.
You're not gonna accomplish anything.
And I think we both have to have the same mindset that Muhammad Ali had when he met with Dr. Martin Luther King, when Muhammad Ali said, I'm not going to go to the war. I'm not going to fight Vietnam, the people in Vietnam, because my problem is here in America. I'm not saying put anything aside, but I'm saying do what's best for our people. And I know you from talking to you. This is why we do the broadcast. Yeah, what you believe is what you believe. What I believe is what I believe. You're not trying to convert me. I'm not trying to convert you. But what we are trying to do is say, what do our people need to know? And so we come up with these subjects where people can listen and say, hey, you know what? Those brothers have some interesting points that I want to look at, or, you know, maybe I can help them look at some points that I have that they haven't seen.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when you talk about the mindset, the mental genocide of many Black people in America when it comes to the holidays, you don't get these kind of intellectual discussions where we can both even disagree on things. But the bottom line is, we don't want our people to be taken advantage of by anyone.
Right.
You know, I don't care whether you're black, white, red, brown, green, yellow. Don't turn something into a commercialization smorgasbord where people are just taking your money and you don't know the significance of what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's important, Kev.
If somebody gonna be getting my money, I want them to look like me, and I want it to be for a cause that's gonna empower me. When I went to the Kwanzaa festival last week, I felt good spending my money with people that look like me, that had an ideology that I share with them, at least, and that's pro-blackness. You know what I'm saying? So I had no problem buying the food, buying stuff that I probably didn't need. You know, and sometimes people would say, "Well, this costs this much," and I say, "Well, you know what? That's not enough. I'm gonna pay you more."
Right.
You know, I ain't say, "Well, that's too much. I won't." I'm like, you know, no, I'm gonna pay more than that, because it's about growth. It's about us helping us to be better.
That's that mindset we're talking about. Today's broadcast has been about European holidays, a mental genocide for many Black people. We hope we said something that will stimulate you and allow you to know that we want us to do the best that we can do. We don't have all the answers, but what we do have, we're willing to share with you. We're willing to be transparent. And next week, we'll get our phone lines up, and then we can have some dialogue and kind of see what's going on.
It's not next week, right? We're not doing it next week.
Oh, I stand corrected. In 3 weeks from now, because we come on the first and the third Saturdays of the month, but we're going to be ready for you in January. So hopefully.
Yeah. And if y'all have any shows or any topics that y'all want to discuss, or y'all want to hear us discuss, just hit us up on the Jah Kev Show at gmail.com. That's JAHKEV show@gmail.com, and we'll look at. Have you looked at the email, man?
Nope.
I haven't either. I'm saying it like I could have just said shake my head like, oh man, but no, I haven't either. But we got to do
Yeah,
that.
we do. We do.
And if y'all got any, like I say, any topics y'all want us to tackle, if y'all want to call in during the show, next time we'll have our phones up. I don't know, something happened with the computer. When you're dealing with technology, computers, like I say, on the Facebook feed, I can't see not one comment.
Wow.
But I did get a notification that somebody commented, and I don't know what they said. I appreciate Ray showing up on the YouTube live channel and giving us a good commentary.
Yeah. So we also say subscribe to the Jah and Kev Show. On behalf of Kev, I'm Jah. We finna get out of here, and we appreciate you taking the time out to just listen to us. And we hope we said something again that stimulated your interest into being a better person, because some of the comments that you said, we definitely will take them to heart. This is a serious subject. So again, what you got to say, Kev? He'll be the last words.
Y'all Liberation Academy, man.
I see you represent. I see you representing today.
Y'all go to them, look them up. Jah may give y'all some information. Support them, support what the brothers doing, young people doing good things. Older people doing good things for younger people.
Yeah, we got a lot of things coming up, but we'll keep you posted on the next broadcast.
And what's a site that y'all got a site?
Yeah, www.theliberationcentersa.org. Check us out.
Peace.